trailer here. So this is a portable radar, a deployable radar trailer. This would get towed out to a location, for instance, at a remote airfield maybe, and then deployed alongside a big generator that'll help power it. But the idea here is that there's some legs on the corners that'll deploy downward to stabilize the trailer out there. And then there's a hydraulic ram here that'll push deploy the radome upward here, right? Rotate this 90 degrees and put it into the deployed state. So the kinematics here are really simple. This model will help us validate them as we do this. Okay. So, again, we're going to deploy these legs downward, and we're going to end up with the dome going upward. And I know the expressions that are going to drive this, and so I'm going to dive right in and do this. So in the tools menu here, we'll find parameter tables in here. It's near the expressions in this one. I've got a few other things turned on in here, optimization and PTS and some things that are turned on. This parameter tables is going to start like this, right? We can start a new parameter table from the expressions in the model here, as it describes here, by specifying the expressions that we want to control. We'll go and do that. We can add some right-click to add some expressions here. So in this one here, we've got an expression to deploy the legs, and we've got a second one here to deploy the radome here, and we'll add these to our new parameter table. Okay. As we do this here, we've got a label here for them that we can call them anything we want to here. A better descriptive label out here that may be better than the expression. These expressions are pretty well named already, right? But if we need a more descriptive name for a P expression, for instance, we can add that here in our parameter table to show us the current values for these and this initial one configuration in here. So let's rename this one here. This will be our fully stowed configuration here for this first one, and then we'll come and add a new configuration, right? There's a new configuration. We'll rename this guy and call this one legs to the ground, and that's our first kind of intermediate state that we'll add for this guy. We'll add another configuration in here and rename this one and call this one fully deployed here, just for fun. Okay, so we've got a few of those are fully stowed. I know what these expressions are, so at this legs to ground, we'll have at 18 inches, the legs will get to the ground. Fully deployed, we'll be at 25, so it'll jump up in the air a little bit. And we'll do 100 there to deploy our radome there. So we've got these three configurations now of these two expressions. We'll save this here. Let's just say OK. This can be our radome deployment, right? We'll name that table. So we can have multiple parameter tables in a part. Each of these will control some number of expressions. These are two expressions in this one. And then we can start to activate these, right? So we're in this fully stowed state right now. We double click that becomes the active configuration. Our legs to ground, if we double click that here now, you see our model has jumped to that state where we've moved the legs down. And our fully deployed here, again, it's going to push up. We'll see the trailer come up in the air a little bit, see the dome deploy the rest of the way, and we'll see that third state there, right? So here again, we can very quickly jump between those states. Okay. We look at these expressions now. These expressions now are locked for input. These are driven by the parameter table now. If we want to unlock those, we can do that by deactivating the parameter table here. We can deactivate that here. That'll make none of these active. And as we do that, it'll also release those expressions there, so we can do some of those as well. So if there's some intermediate state in there that we want to capture, right? We can have that in some intermediate state where we have an interference here, for instance. We can come back into our parameter table here, for instance, edit our parameter table, add this new configuration in here that might be, for instance, our collision, and set with, I think, only, no, that needs two of those and one of those. Yep, that looks better. So there's our collision state. We've captured the current values here as a new configuration here, for instance, now, right? So we can go to that collision state and store that one, for instance, as a thing we can refer back to. Okay, so that's a really quick overview of this one.